Good morning. Welcome to Saturday morning yoga. Go ahead and as you arrive, begin finding your way to your mat. You can sit directly on your mat, or if you have a block or a pillow available, maybe just go ahead and raise your hips up a bit. And go ahead and allow your shins to come out a little ways. So they're kind of at a 90-degree angle at your knee. Maybe you allow your hands to rest in your lap or on your thighs. And beginning to connect with your breath, allowing your eyes to close. Turning your attention inward. And as you begin to check in with yourself, take a moment to think about what you want more of in your life. Just let those feelings, images occur. And with each inhale, imagine drawing more of that into your life. And then with each exhale, just imagine letting go of some of the things, ideas, belief, material stuff, tensions in your body that no longer serve you. And throughout class, as we continually bring our attention back to our breath, with each inhale, drawing in more of what we desire, and with each exhale, letting go of what no longer serves us. Inhaling and exhaling. Feeling your shoulders relax and drop down away from your ears. Getting to activate that core, drawing that belly button up and in. Feeling the weight of your hips and of your sit bones as they rest against the mat or block. With the next few breaths, just energetically lift the crown of the head up towards the sky. Just a little bit more. Seeing if you can find just a little bit more length and space in the spine. And if you've raised your hips onto a block, go ahead and release that now. Coming all the way back to the mat. We're gonna just scoop and roll a little flesh out from under our sit bones, bringing the soles of the feet together, gently grasping the ankles and drawing those ankles and heels in as close as you can to your body, while encouraging the knees down towards the ground, drawing that chest forward. Nice straight spine, continuing to activate that belly button. Feeling the lower abdominals tighten. And then releasing the ankles, grab at the pads of the big toe, or right below the big toe, so the pads of your foot, and begin spreading your feet apart like a book. So the outside edges remain together, the inside edges you're peeling apart. And just move up and down the feet, giving it a little massage, pressing into that instep. Our feet are our foundation. They're what connect us to the earth. They're what allow us to move about and do all of our daily tasks. So just thanking your feet for being your foundation. Then maybe you'll go ahead and grasp behind the outside edges of your toes and really begin drawing your chest forward. Bending at the elbows, pulling the chest down towards the feet. Maybe you use your elbows to encourage your legs open. Breathing into the groin. And maybe you stay here, or maybe for the next few breaths, you begin to bow your forehead down towards the mat. On your next inhale, rising up, we're going to go ahead and extend that right leg out long, drawing that left foot into the thigh. If you have a strap or a scarf or a belt or anything, maybe you want to loop the ball of your foot. If not, you can still get a nice stretch just by forward folding and holding on anywhere on the leg. So beginning into your forward fold, flexing that foot nice and strong, drawing the toes back towards your body, pressing out through the heel. And if you don't feel a nice stretch in the larger muscles along the back of the leg, if you feel instead of pulling at the back of the knee, go ahead and add a micro bend into your knee. I really want you to protect your joints. We really want to keep our opening into the muscle tissue and the fascia, not on our tendons or ligaments. As you connect with your deep breathing here, bringing your thoughts back to the intention at the beginning of class. Inhaling all that you wish to see manifest in your life, in your reality. And exhaling all those things that just carry weight right now. All those things that just aren't necessary. Anything weighing you down, exhaling that out. And on your next inhale, rising up and switching sides. Again, I don't know if you can see, but keeping that front foot nice and flexed. From here, inhaling with a nice straight spine. And on an exhale, beginning to fold forward. Maybe strapping the ball of your foot. Maybe just holding on to the shins or the thigh or wherever you are today. Just meeting yourself. Thanking yourself for showing up, for breathing, for practicing. Couple more deep breaths here. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose. And on your next inhale, rising up, releasing your hands or strap. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides again. So lengthen out that right leg. This time, just bending the left knee and sole of the foot to the mat. And the knee stays up, and then just take it out to the side just a little bit. Then we're going to begin by walking our hands forward onto our straight right leg. And then if it's available to you, maybe wrapping that left arm back around that left leg. Maybe you stay here, finding a nice stretch in the shoulder. Maybe you take that right hand and also wrap it around and just kind of search for that other hand. You may not make contact today, but eventually you'll get there. Just honoring where you're at, finding a little space wherever you are, letting go of a little more tension. If you found the wrap, go ahead and unwrap and begin to straighten that spine back to neutral, switching sides. Once you get that heel nice and back as close to your body as you can, go ahead and just move it out towards the right a little bit. Beginning to walk yourself down that left leg. If you can get that shin into your armpit, then maybe you want to begin to wrap that left shoulder back. If not, just folding again is a great place to be. If you want to add on, maybe wrapping the right arm around your back. Maybe your fingers make contact, maybe they don't. Maybe you find one side is more open than the other. Just noticing. No judgment. On your next inhale, if you've taken the wrap, go ahead and release the wrap. Beginning to walk yourself back up. I'm going to take just a couple more seated poses here. We're going to take a cow face pose now. So bring your right thigh kind of parallel with your hip. So pointing that knee directly forward, and the right foot's going to come back towards your body. And then you can bring that left foot right in front. Maybe this is where you're at today. Maybe you can bring that left foot over, and you're going to begin to work your knees towards stacking right on top of one another. You'll probably feel a pretty intense stretch in the outside of your hips. As long as you're not feeling any tugging on your knee joints. If you are, please back out. And if you're feeling all right here, we're going to go ahead and take it one step further, drawing the left arm or the right arm up and patting your back. Then go ahead and take your left arm back and extending the fingers up again towards touching. Maybe you don't touch, maybe you do, maybe you can hold hands. Wherever you're at today is perfect. Just finding some more opening. Opening the shoulders, opening the hips. crown reaches up, chest presses forward. Just a couple more breaths here. And gently releasing the hands if you've chosen to take that. And gently unwinding the legs, taking your time, using your hands to assist you. There is no rush as you begin to set up for the other side. Again, maybe you're here today with the left foot pointing in and the right foot just right out in front. Maybe you begin to work that right knee on top of the left. Maybe this feels really good here. Maybe you begin to work towards the hand clasp. This is a pretty deep opening for the shoulders, so if you have any rotator cuff injuries, I would go ahead and sit this arm part out. If you feel any tweaking or pain, please honor your body. Do not do anything that does not feel good for you. And one more deep breath in. One more deep breath out. Maybe this time through the mouth. And gently releasing the arms. Releasing the legs. And at your own time, making your way onto your back. Continuing to work into the hips here. Hips tending to be that place where we store a lot of our traumas and negative emotions. It's a really beautiful place to continue working and opening into. So taking that left ankle, crossing it across the right knee. Inhaling your knee up and grabbing either behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Letting the shoulders come back to the mat, making sure that top foot remains flexed. And really maybe pressing in with your right knee into that left ankle. Keeping a nice pressure, a nice stretch into the back of the hip. Really seeing if we can work our edge today. It shouldn't be painful, but it might be uncomfortable. And that's okay. That's where we want to be. It won't last forever. And you're doing a beautiful job breathing into this space. Knowing that you are unwinding and releasing all the things that don't serve you. And on your next exhale, go ahead and release that right foot back to the mat, uncrossing and switching sides. Inhaling up. And exhale, releasing the shoulders back to the mat. Drawing that left knee in as you press that right knee out, keeping that right foot super flexed. Breathing into that edge. And if you're joining me for the December challenge, your word for today is freedom. As we find a little bit more freedom in our bodies, a little bit more freedom in our minds. Maybe moving about the earth with a little bit more freedom. next exhale, gently releasing. Go ahead and grab behind both thighs and begin to roll yourself back up to seated. But go ahead and take a few rolls if that feels good for you. If the floor you're on is not too hard, maybe getting a nice spinal massage here. And then once you feel good there, go ahead and make your way all the way up to seated. Spreading your legs nice and wide. Go ahead and just take them just as wide as you can while still having them pretty straight. Always feel free to keep a little micro bend in the knees. There's no need to hyperextend. And then grabbing back and removing a little bit of the flesh from under your sit bones. That'll help you tilt your hips a little bit more forward, finding a little more length in the spine. Flexing those toes, drawing them back towards your nose, towards your body. You might grab the inside of your thighs, beginning to bend the elbows, drawing the crown of your head forward. Maybe you're there, maybe you bring your hands to the mat. Begin to crawl them even more forward. Continuing to press those thighs down towards the mat. Again, you kind of want to come into that place of feeling just a little bit uncomfortable. Kind of like the stretching of a rubber band. You don't want it to snap, but we're kind of like giving it flexibility, or like you're about to blow up a balloon. You know how you give it a few stretches to kind of warm it up, make it more malleable and ready to be filled with air. That's kind of the place you want to be here. Finding that nice stretch. And breathing into it. If you found a little more space, if you find that that initial place you started at is a little bit easier than when you started, go ahead and crawl your hands a little bit more forward. Come back to that edge. As it moves, meet it there. And that's how we grow. That's how we expand. On your next inhale, beginning to press up, I want you to grab behind the thighs, drawing the knees up and in, and making your way onto your hands and knees. And from your hands and knees, we're just going to take like 3 cat-cows, inhaling head and tailbone up. Exhale, pressing back. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And one more time, nice and slow, inhaling forward. Maybe holding at the top of your breath. And exhale back. Once again, maybe holding for a moment at the bottom of your breath before making your way back to neutral spine, tucking those toes under, pressing the hips up and back, Adho Mukha Savasana or down dog. And we're going to be here for a few breaths. Maybe you want to walk the dog, so bending one heel, then the other. Maybe you just want to go straight into full down dog, pressing those heels, encouraging them towards the mat. And when you look back, if you can see your heels, go ahead and spin them out just a little bit more, just so they're out of view. Rolling those armpits in towards the ears. Deltoids out. So it's kind of a twisting motion like this. With your hands, just energetically twist them as if you were trying to open the top of a jar. So you're not actually moving them. And on your next inhale, bending deeply into the knees and beginning to walk your feet to your hands. Exhale into forward fold, taking a nice bend in the knees, taking your pointer and middle finger and wrapping around each big toe. So from here, bending as deeply as you need to get that grip. Once you've got that grip, just begin straightening into the legs. Maybe you'll get them straight, maybe you won't, but just feeling a nice stretch across the back of the legs. Relaxing the head, relaxing the neck, feeling the spine lengthen from your tailbone down through the top of your head. A couple more deep breaths here. Then we're going to tuck that belly button, tuck that tailbone under, release your toes, and begin to roll up, one vertebra at a time. All the way up, head and neck come last. Inhaling, arms up, and exhale, hands to heart. I'm going to face you, but you can stay wherever you want on your mat. Go ahead and take a look down now. Double check that your feet are parallel to one another and that your feet are about hips distance apart. Then from here, we're going to keep our pointer fingers out long, interlacing the rest of our fingers. Inhale, drawing up, drawing the arms back towards the ears, pressing as tall as you can, your fingers up towards the sky. So grounding down through the feet while reaching up through the arms, finding as much length. And as you press deeply into the feet, beginning to bend over to the right. Trying to keep your hips right in line, so you don't want to shift them out to the side, keeping them right in line, just bending from the waist. Inhaling up, exhale over to the left. Inhaling up, and exhale back bend, gazing up again, pressing those knees and thighs back. And inhale, rise up, and releasing the hands. On your next exhale, go ahead and forward fold. Inhale, placing the hands on the shin, flat back. Exhale, placing your hands, stepping all the way back into high plank. From here, you can go ahead and take a chaturanga or knees, chest, chin, dropping all the way down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, back over the knees to down dog. Go ahead and inhale that right heel up. Exhale, bending the knee and stepping it through. Go ahead and take a peek down, double checking that your knee is stacked right over the ankle. And then dropping that back knee and the top of that back foot to the mat. Going to begin to press both hips forward and down towards the mat. Should feel a nice stretch across that quad there. Maybe you inhale your arms up, Anjane Asana. Squeezing those thighs in towards the midline. And on an exhale, opening the arms and placing them back on each side of that front foot. We begin to shift our hips back towards Hanuman, lifting that front toes off the mat. Maybe you're here today If you have some blocks, maybe you want to grab your blocks. Maybe you want to sit up a little higher. If you already feel a deep stretch here, go ahead and stay there. If you can go a little deeper towards your edge, maybe shimmy that front foot forward as we're going towards prep for splits. Keeping that front foot nice and flexed. And just finding your edge. Feel a nice deep stretch in the back of that hamstring. Maybe still even in the front quad. We're going to be here for a few breaths. So if you begin to find some more space or opening, continue to inch forward, staying with that edge. If you slid that heel forward, go ahead and begin sliding it back. So you can bend that front knee, tucking those back toes under, pressing the hips up, and releasing that leg, down dog. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, stepping through, low lunge. Once you get set up with your nice low lunge, go ahead and drop that back knee to the mat, top of the back foot. Pressing your hips down towards the mat. Inhale up, Anjaneyasana. And go ahead, release the arms, beginning to shift the hips back into Hanuman. Maybe you're here. Maybe you have your blocks. Maybe you begin to slide that front heel forward towards prep for splits. Take a peek down, make sure your back leg is still tracking right behind you. Flexing those front toes. Breathing into the back of the leg. Again, just noticing your body and where you're at. You might find that one side is tighter than the other. Most of us are not perfectly balanced, but we can use this practice to start to reach towards a greater level of balance. On your next inhale, beginning to draw that heel back. If you slid it forward, drawing it all the way back to bent. Removing the blocks if you use blocks. Tucking those back toes under, pressing the hips up, and then releasing into down dog. Go ahead and let's drop our knees as wide as the mat, bringing the big toes together and pressing the hips back, allowing the belly to drop down between the thighs towards the mat, forehead coming to the mat, child's pose. Just enjoying a few breaths here. On your next inhale, coming forward onto your hands and knees. Bringing bringing the knees back to hips distance apart, and tucking those back toes under. Press the hips up and back, down dog. Inhale the right leg up. Exhale, stepping through, low lunge. And then go ahead and shimmy your foot out to the edge of the mat. So giving you enough space to bring both hands on the inside of that right foot. So with both hands on the inside of that foot, you might begin to be able to drop that shoulder down, bending out the elbows. I'm going to show you from front view real quick. So dropping that shoulder down on the inside. Maybe you can begin to press it out a little bit with the shoulder. Maybe you want to take it a little further and kind of tuck that shoulder under, bringing the hand to the outside and moving forwards and backwards. Again, this is just an opening, a prep towards arm balance. Wherever you're at today is perfect. Finding your edge. If you've taken the wrap, go ahead and unwrap. And then taking that foot, inching it back in towards center, placing a hand on each side of the foot, shifting the hips up and back to release for down dog. And I'm pretty sure I said start with the right leg, but I did my right leg. So if I didn't, my apologies. We're gonna go ahead and inhale the opposite leg up. For me, the left leg. Exhale, stepping through. Go ahead and shimmy the edge of that foot out to the outer edge of your mat, placing both hands on the inside of the foot. Maybe this is as far as you take it today. You can even do your forward backwards from here. But maybe you begin to take that shoulder down, placing it through that foot. Maybe rock forwards and backwards. Pressing that knee out. Really working in the hip joints here. Now this is a difficult pose. You're doing amazing. Connecting with that breath. Maybe begin to unwind, bringing both hands back to the inside. If you opted to go the whole way. From there, shimming that foot back in towards center and framing the foot with your hands before pressing the hips up to release that leg, down dog. And we're gonna go ahead and take one final hip opening before we make our way back to our mat. Inhale, right leg up. Exhale, stepping through, but placing that shin directly on the mat. If your hips are open, you may work towards getting that shin parallel to the front of your mat. If they're not, go ahead and keep that foot tucked at an angle back in towards your body. From there, you're going to release that left knee and the top of the left foot onto the mat. Go ahead and take a peek back and see that that leg is tracking straight back from the hip. Maybe you're here today. Maybe you begin to work down onto your elbows. Hello, camera. Anyway, down onto your elbows. Sorry about that. And maybe all the way down onto your forehead. There we go. next inhale, beginning to press up. Tucking those back toes under, shifting the hips up and back, down dog. Go ahead and take a really deep bend in the knees here. Pressing those hips up and back, finding a little more arch in the spine. Rolling those armpits under towards your ears. And then beginning to straighten the legs, heels extending towards the mat. Inhaling that left leg up. Exhale, stepping it through and placing the shin on the mat. Same setup as other side. Back knee, top of the back foot. Come to the mat. Peeking back. Double checking that your leg is tracking straight back from the hip. Or coming down, maybe onto your elbows. Maybe you stay up on your hands. Wherever you are, taking it as far as you'd like to today, maybe all the way down to your forehead. And the next inhale, beginning to press up. And if you opted to come down, tucking those back toes under, pressing those hips up and back to release. From down dog, go ahead and begin to walk your feet towards your hands. Exhale, releasing into forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Go ahead and step sideways on your mat and take a nice wide stance with your legs. If you were to reach your arms out, your ankles, you probably want them about under your wrists. From there, make sure the back edge of your feet are parallel to the sides of your mat, or you can have the toes pigeon-toed just a slight amount, pointing in. Sorry about that. From here, hands on your hips, beginning to fold forward. Maybe from here, you release your hands to the mat, allowing the head and neck to relax, shaking it yes and no. On your next inhale, coming up to flat back and walking your hands over towards the left. And beginning to walk your hands over towards the right. Coming back to center. Walking back, placing your hips, rising up. Go ahead and heel toe your feet together. Coming back to the top of your mat. You're going to inhale, rising up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale. exhale, placing your hands and stepping back, high plank. One inhale here. And on your exhale, either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. With your next inhale, coming forward onto your hands and knees and making your way onto your back. Bringing the soles of your feet to the mat. We're going to take fish pose or supported fish pose if you have a block available to you. If not, you can still do this pose without it. So I'm going to show both variations. If you don't have a block, you're going to press your elbows into the mat close to your sides and just roll your shoulder blades under. So you have a nice arch in the top part of your back, the top part of your spine. And tucking the crown of the head onto the floor, lengthening the legs, and gazing back behind you. If you have a block, you can go ahead and set that block up so that the block sits right at the bottom of your shoulder blades. And then beginning to release back onto the block. Crown of the head. Might have to move a ponytail. Crown of the head comes towards the mat. Just allowing your arms to open out to your sides. If you've taken fish without the blocks, go ahead and press into those elbows, lifting the head off the mat. And with your exhale, rolling down flat onto the mat. Just breathing there. If you're in supported fish, go ahead and take a few more breaths here. Breathing into the chest. And your next inhale, pressing into your elbows and rolling on to one side or the other, releasing that block. From there, rolling back onto your back. Sorry, still struggling with the camera. Go ahead and draw the right knee in towards the chest, left leg out long. And as you pull that knee in, press gently out. So press your shin into your hands while you're drawing your hands down into your shin. And then releasing that, go ahead and draw your knee out to the right. And then back in towards your armpit. Oh, lovely. Breathing here. Go ahead on your next exhale, releasing that. And drawing your left knee in towards your chest. Right leg out long, pressing out through the heel. Drawing that knee in. And like we did on the other side, gently press that shin up into the hands while resisting it with the hands. You might find a little more space kind of created in this hip flexor here. And then releasing that, go ahead and draw that left knee out towards the left armpit a little bit. And then again, drawing in from the side into the armpit. Coming back through center, releasing the sole of the foot to the mat, drawing that right foot to the mat. I'm going to take a nice spinal twist. So crossing that left leg over the right. We're going to drop both knees over towards the right. Maybe you take that left hand back behind you. And maybe you can grab that left foot with your left hand. Breathing here for a few more breaths. Maybe you gaze out over that left shoulder, if it's available to your neck. Not if you're feeling any tweaking. On your next inhale, go ahead and come back through center. Uncrossing the legs. And switching the cross. This time, right leg over. Dropping both knees over towards the left. Maybe gazing out over your right shoulder. Maybe you reach back with your right hand and grab that left foot. Continue breathing here for a few more breaths. On your next inhale, bringing the knees back up through center and crossing and giving your knees a nice hug in, drawing your forehead up towards your knees. Exhale, releasing your legs all the way out, making your way into Shavasana, or final resting position. As you find yourself relaxing on the mat, go ahead and release any control over your breath, allowing it to return to its natural rhythm. And bringing your attention back to the practice from the beginning of class. With each inhale, just imagining yourself filled with all the things you desire to have more of in your life. And with each exhale, just feeling all the things that carry unnecessary or unwanted weight being released from your life easily and effortlessly. On your next inhale, lengthening your breath, bringing awareness back into your body, coming back into the room in this present moment. Maybe you begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe you take a nice long stretch with your arms overhead. And as you're ready, as you feel present, go ahead and begin to bring the soles of your feet back to the mat. With the soles of your feet on the mat and your knees bent, go ahead and begin to roll onto one side for fetal position. And from fetal, beginning to make your way up to seated. Taking your time, allowing your head and neck to come up last. As we find ourselves back in the same position we started class, let's just take a few more breaths here. Maybe bringing your hands to heart center. Just allowing your practice to settle in. May you go today in peace, with a little bit more inner space, with a little bit more freedom in your body. Namaste.